Hey, good day. It is a Wednesday, halfway through the week. You made it so good so far. Nice job. I'm very, very proud of you. My name's Tom Carnell. This is Carnell Knowledge, a show I do every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday in which I talk about 5 movies that you probably have never heard of, a book that hopefully you will go and pick up, and 5 records that are awesome, that are usually off the beaten track. You're not going to hear too much top 10 information here. A lot of these are names a lot of people haven't heard of. I do extensive research in trying to find this stuff for you guys. So please remember, as they say, hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and in the description below you will find links to trailer films and sometimes full movies of the movies, Amazon links for the book, and YouTube playlists for all the records. So don't just take my word for it. Go check them out, listen to them for yourself, and you'll decide whether you want to add them to your collection or not. Real briefly, I was a buyer for a lot of record stores like Tower and Record Factory and Warehouse for about 20 years. I published Carpet Noctem magazine, which was a dark art publication back in the 90s. From 2000 to about 2014 or so, I wrote for Fangoria and Dread Central. And ever since then, I've been writing. I got a bunch of books up on Amazon. They're short story collections and a couple of novels. 2 words for you. 3 words for you. Zombie pit fighting. There's a book there that you can find that. It's like the UFC with your dead grandmother. What else? Please watch this to the end. It really helps me with the algorithm. Even if you go and do something else, just let it play. And that, again, I'd be very, very grateful. And if you have something you want to talk about, comment below. If it's something you want to talk about not in public, go ahead and email me at tomcarnell@gmail.com. With that out of the way, let's get started with today's movies. We're going to start with the Judageki from Japan from 1982. This is called NINJA-GARI, aka Ninja Hunt. It's a remake of a black and white film from the 60s. The director, Tetsuya Yamanuchi, I apologize for that. He did the original version, and then oddly he got a chance on television to redo it in color. This stars Shizue Abe, Shinjiro Ibara, and Yoko Tanaka. It's about 4 ex-samurai who are hired to find and kill ninja infiltrators who are intent on destroying the Matsuyama clan. Both of these are woefully unsung martial arts stories. They you'll always hear about things. Yeah, you'll hear about Zatoichi, and you'll hear about Yojimbo, and you'll hear about all that other stuff, all the Kurosawa stuff. This is different. It's less sung. It's even less sung than things like Sleepy Eyes of Death or some of the others. I grew up on all these kind of films, and so I have a soft spot in my heart for them. As I've said before on the show, it's one of the reasons I think I like Westerns, because the Japanese samurai and the Western are very, very similar thematically. But this is a great film. It is a fairly standard example of the genre. There's a lot of palace intrigue and shogunate intrigue here with warring clans and factions and alliances and that kind of thing. But it's fantastic. The acting is universally good. The direction is assured. And it should be, because this is the director's second shot at this material. If gun to my head, I would tell you that I liked the black and white version from I believe it's 1964, a little better, but good luck finding that. I looked all over for this, and the link that I have in the description is just to the TV movie that's in color. The original had a raw look to it, and this one, it kind of looks like a TV movie, kind of feels like a TV movie. The martial arts are great. The ninja stuff is, to the best of my knowledge, seems pretty authentic. But these things are about one thing, and that's the action. And this one delivers amidst all the posturing, and there are several authentic moments here. It's fun. It's a tad melodramatic. It is Japanese cinema after all, but it's wholly satisfying. Again, Ninja Hunt. Good stuff. Up next, from 1965, I mentioned on Monday's episode that I've been going through a Mexican horror jag, and this is a fine example of that. It's called La Loba, aka the She-Wolf. It's directed by Rafael Baladon, who did the film The Hell of Frankenstein. It stars Kitty de Hoyos, Joaquin Cordera, and Columba Dominguez. The synopsis, as we say around here, is as follows. Professor Fernandez is studying the metamorphosis in living organisms to cure his daughter of a strange disease that occurs in full moon nights. This was Mexico's first effort to produce a horror film that was devoted to a werewolf, in this case, a female one. One of the few serious attempts by the Mexican film industry to enliven the horror genre without escaping its campy nature. The film comes about the same time that the El Santo Mexican wrestler films were happening. Except this film doesn't have any wrestlers in it. It has nothing at all. The first couple of werewolf attacks are really impressive. It's 1964, but they're visceral and they're pretty bloody. I don't know too much about that in full moonlight stuff, but because a lot of this stuff, the werewolf is running around the countryside and it's broad daylight. But okay. A lot of the lore gets ignored, to be honest. But by the end, the film sort of veers towards more familiar ground. The fight scenes, it's kind of funny where you'll see the werewolf running across the ground or towards the camera, and they hit what is blatantly a trampoline, and then they're flying through the air. It's interesting, as always. I talk a lot here about genre passed through the prism of a different culture. It's interesting to see the Mexican take on the whole matter, but this was great. The full movie is on YouTube. You can get the link down there. But I really enjoyed it. It wasn't what I expected it to be, but what I got was even better. Now, don't get me wrong. This isn't a 5-star film by any stretch of the imagination, but it is fun, and it is a good little time waster. I think you'll really enjoy it, especially if you're a big werewolf movie fan. Moving over to Tubi, there's a documentary there from 2023. It's called Horror Underground: Extreme Cult Cinema. It's directed by Tony Newton, and it's got a lot of talking heads, people that are low budget filmmakers. That I was shocked with all the names that they came up. They talk to everybody, but they don't talk to Fred Vogel, and I think they should. If you know Fred, he developed something called the God, it's escaping me now. The underground. Sorry. But anyway, this is about filmmakers that make films with zero budget. And the budget they do have, they spend it all on the gore effects. The films are sick. Some would call them sick. Some are twisted. They're all not like anything you've ever seen. If names like Guinea Pig, Flower, Flesh and Blood ring a bell, or a Serbian film ring a bell, that's kind of what we're talking about. I don't know why this film is 2 hours. you could have done it in 60 to 80 minutes, but there's a lot of guys talking in front of massive DVD collections about films that are some of them can be recommended, a lot of them can't. A lot of them are, let's say that they're gore for gore's sake. I got some guy in the back doing some lawn work. It does feel a little bit about what I'm going to call the over intellectualization of shit, because I mean it's art, but it's not capital A art. This documentary, if you have an interest in those kind of films, those real raw sort of bloodletting, a little sadistic in their nature, this is a great place to wet your feet. I don't think it's essential viewing at all, but there you go. I'm going to take a pause right here while this guy goes away. Okay, I apologize for that. The name that was escaping me, it came to me while I was chasing that guy off, was Fred Vogel ran August Underground. So check that stuff out. It's all pretty interesting. Let's see, moving on to the next film. This is an Italian film from 1966, El Terzo Occhio, aka The Third Eye, directed by Mino Guarini, who did Mines of Kilimanjaro, and it stars Franco Nero from Django and the Fifth Chord. And it's interesting, he's the name they use is Frank Nero, which I guess is they're trying to Americanize it. It also stars Gioia Pascal, who only did 2 films, this and something called Menage all'Italiana in 1965. And it stars also Erica Blank, who was in Mario Bava's Kill Baby Kill, Umberto Lenzi's So Sweet and Perverse, and she was also in The Night Evelyn Came Out of the Grave. The plot is as follows. A young count living with his domineering mother spirals into madness after his mother and fiancé are killed by his jealous, lovesick servant. Mother and fiancé are killed in separate incidences. The girlfriend is killed in a car accident, and the mother is shoved down a flight of stairs, both caused by the aforementioned servant. There's an image of the fiancé sort of the car in a lake and her kind of hanging out. That is really great. It's suitable for painting. In a weird way, it is an obscure precursor to Joe D'Amato's classic gore film Boia Omego, aka Beyond the Darkness. Italian censors on this were kind of confounded. It says they had said, in addition, many scenes of almost full female nudity and excessively graphic intercourses, the film features episodes of necrophilia, close-ups of horrific scenes with blood and brutal violence. It's clearly inspired by things like Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho, so much so that Franco Nero is a taxidermist in this. There is some graphic animal evisceration. He taxidermies a crow at one point. If that kind of stuff bothers you, I'd steer clear. But this features a young Franco Nero. He's just barely 25. Looks like a baby in this thing. It's shot in stark black and white. The music was done by Francesco Damasi as Frank Mason. He did the music for Murder Clinic in 66, The Hanging Woman in 73. He did the music for Enzo Castellari's Inglourious Basterds in 1978, Lucio Fulci's New York Ripper in 82, and the Chuck Norris film Lone Wolf McQuade in 83. The makeup was done by Giuliano Laurenti as Julian Lorenz, who he did a lot of the makeup effects for things like Grand Prix in 66 with James Garner, and 2 Argento films, Four Flies on Grey Velvet in 71 and Deep Red in 75. This is really melodramatic stuff. It's Italian, and there's a lot of arched eyebrows and over-teased bouffant hairdos. Nero's descent into madness is slow but when he goes, he goes. Goes with gusto, as they say. The version I saw, which the link is in the description below, it's on YouTube. It was odd that in the middle of it, certain scenes, it would change, the color stock or the film stock would change, and the language would change to German for like a minute, and then it would cut back. It was kind of odd in that way. The maid, when the maid walks in once the fiance and the mother die, and Franco Nero goes full on bananas. He starts murdering girls that he finds in clubs. He's a good-looking guy, so it's not that hard. But once he starts killing girls, the maid walks in and doesn't even bat an eye. She's like, "Oh, I'll just clean this up for you," and that's kind of weird. But overall, the proceedings are all pretty lurid. Lust, murder, jealousy, marry me or I'll tell, from the maid. A lot of dominance and submission. Until finally the dead fiance's sister and lookalike shows up, and that upends everything. The Franco Nero starts to cut the maid out of the equation, who up until then he said he was going to marry her and make her whatever the hell it was, a countess or count or whatever. And she goes off on a revenge-fueled campaign. I recommend it for fans of Psycho. I recommend it for fans if they are familiar with Buia Omega, or Franco Nero completists or Italian film connoisseurs. I enjoyed this for the most part. It was an interesting take, and it was always fun to see Franco Nero running around like he's a grown-up person, but he's barely a kid, just barely a kid. I do think that, of course, I think Psycho is better than this. Buia Omega is interesting. That's got a lot more gore and a lot more sort of a visceral feel to it. But this is fine. This is absolutely fine. Our last film, in a complete change of pace, is from 2004. This I think is available on Tubi for free. It's called Der Untergang, aka Downfall. It's directed by Oliver Hirschbiegel, stars Bruno Ganz as Adolf Hitler, who is in a beautiful film Wim Wenders did called Wings of Desire. Alexander Maria Lar is on it. It's about Traudl Junge, who was the final secretary for Adolf Hitler, and the film tells the story of the final days of the Third Reich when they're in the bunker. It's all going south through the rest of the country. His days are numbered, and it's a slow sort of realization of that. There's a famous meme out where it's got someone as Bruno Ganz as Adolf Hitler screaming and yelling, and you see it online a lot, and this is the film it's from. Many of his lines are historically accurate. They're based on accounts of Albert Speer and the aforementioned secretary, but they're mostly from earlier dates. During the premiere of this film, a large part of the audience broke down in tears at the end. It gets pretty tough towards the end. There's a family that is down there with him, and there's a scene where the mother knows that the days are up and they're going to be all killed at the hands of the Allies, and she gives cyanide to the kids, and that's a tough scene to get through. But overall, this film is absolutely amazing. Bruno Ganz kills it in this role. The acting in it is top drawer. The direction is completely assured. Yes, it's a despicable moment in the world history, but man, if you haven't seen Downfall, you really should. It's a fantastic film. Let's see. Moving on to our book. This book, we talked a lot here about Edgar Wallace, and the German Krimi film. A lot of the German Krimi films were made from Edgar Wallace books. But 1922, Edgar Wallace's The Crimson Circle. It's about a shadowy figure who controls a cabal of criminals that could in old London. It's very early in Edgar Wallace's career. The story is fairly short, but it really packs a punch. It's very much pulp, but if you like that sort of thing, you're going to love it. You can get a lot of the Edgar Wallace collections for your Kindle for like 99 cents or $1.99 or something like that. And they're good reads. They're fun reads. They're very kind of cloak and dagger, very kind of skulking around alleyways at night and that kind of thing. But The Crimson Circle was great, and I do highly recommend it. Moving on to our records, got a bunch here for you. From 2025, the artist is Thomas Fanger, Mario Schonwalder, and Lutz Graf-Ulbrich. The album is called Analog Overdose number 6. This is very much at the Berlin School of Electronics. It's ambient music, but it's electronics. Atmospheric sound, heavily featured analog synthesizers and guitar. The music is spacey, but not detached. It's very approachable. It's very easy to like. Reminded me a lot of Tangerine Dream's record Rubicon. And it also reminded me of things like Ashra, Dark Side of the Moog, Klaus Schulze, Tangerine Dream, Rodelius, Neu, Albert von Dan, Neutronium, and Pete Namlook. If you like electronic records, you're going to love this. It's not boopy beepy kind of stuff. It's more song oriented. But I thoroughly enjoyed this record, and yeah, you check it out. Second record from 2025. The artist is named Byron the Aquarius. The album is called Manifesto. Byron the Aquarius is from Birmingham, Alabama. He's a keyboardist. He describes himself as an Afrofuturist. It's very much music from the future. Lush, oral landscapes, kind of soundtracky, but really good. Really, really, really good. It reminded me of things like, again, Tangerine Dream, Johann Schmoling, who used to be a member of Tangerine Dream, Michael Shreve, the Transfer Station Blues stuff that he did, Theo Paris, Roy Ayers, Law School, and David Arkenstone. Wholly enjoyable, very chill in a very good way. I had never heard of this before. It came across my desk as a result. Every Friday I do these dives into new releases, and this came about. I have a whole process about how I find this stuff. I talked about it on another video. I integrate it into an inbox, and then as I go through it, I sort of part it out and decide, keep what I think is important, and then and sort of lump it in with an overall tone. But this Byron the Aquarius record is fantastic. Really, really enjoyable. Third record. It's a various artists compilation. It's from 2020. It's called Give Me the Funk, the Best Funky Flavored Music. And this is a very cool collection of funk from around the world. It features a bunch of names, and I'm going to give them to you now. The great Manu Dibango, Blowfly, Gil Scott-Heron is on this, Funkadelic, T-Connection, The Silvers, Patrice Rushen, Lonnie Liston-Smith. There's even a Betty Wright song on here. The whole compilation is about 2 hours long. It's very, very cool, and it's very, very funky. Wholly enjoyable. If you like your funk, these kind of compilations are a great way to find new artists and to get a wide variety of the genre, and they're great, and they're absolutely great. Let's see, fourth film. Again, most of these are going to be new. 2025. I say that, and then I look at the next one, and it's not so new. But 2025, the band is called Gosta, Berlings, Saga. The album is called Forever Now. This is straight up. This is Swedish prog, electronic textures and atmospheric compositions. It's very dark and unique. It's a little noodly, if you know what I mean by that. A lot of notes and very little emotion. Fun, but again, they keep all that stuff down to a kind of a minimum. Dense melodies, driven electronics, and a refusal, as on their press kit said, a refusal to trade conviction for convention, and I kind of like that. It's super obscure prog. It's excellent, but it's very much, when you hear it, if your ear is attuned to Swedish progressive rock, this is Swedish progressive rock in spades. Wholly enjoyable, very, very fun, very, very cool, and again, highly recommended. And our last record is from 2012. This won a Grammy. The artist has won a Grammy, and they won 8 Latin Grammys. They're called Mexican Institute of Sound. The album is called Politico. David Gilmour, when he heard him, said that they were his favorite artists of the year. Some guy from Radiohead called him a Mexican Herb Alpert, which I thought, isn't that redundant? But okay. It's Radiohead, so we're going to let that slide. The music is very cool. It's very ethnic, but it's completely accessible, and the guy does a great job of throwing a lot of different musical styles into a blender and sort of mixing it up. Eminently danceable. The music is, I mean, overall, it's just got a fun sort of vibe to it. A lot of syncopated language and big beat stuff, if you know what I'm saying. It reminded me of things like the great Bomba Estero, Bostich and Fusible, Sotomayor, and then the South American artist Lineker, who I've covered on the show as well. I first saw Mexican Institute of Sound as a result of Amoeba's What's in My Bag. And everything that they pulled, I was loving. And so that made me go and look a little deeper in their catalog. And I've heard every record I've heard has been terrific and highly enjoyable, and very much recommended. I think that's going to do that for a Wednesday. I hope, again, you all are enjoying the show. I'm doing more and more of these weekend one-offs. I have a whole list of things here. I just did one called Time in the Chair about online expertise and what to watch out for. And I plan to do a bunch more. Top 10 prog records of all time, those kind of things that a lot of other channels are doing. But I'll drop them just onesie twosie. Onesie twosie as on the weekend. I don't want to interrupt the flow that we've got going here on our Monday, Wednesday, and Friday show. And again, I completely appreciate you all tuning in and keeping subscribed. If you haven't subscribed, what are you waiting for? Nowhere else on the internet are you going to find this level of recommendations of things that you just don't hear anywhere else. Like and share the video if you can. Put it up on your social media. Again, I'm trying to grow the channel. The more audience we get, the more things I can hear about, and the more things I can shuttle to you guys. So again, that's going to do it for Wednesday. We'll see you back here on Friday. I got a whole nother list of stuff for Friday. And until then, we'll see you then. Have a good day.